Show up, pull up, blow up. This how we do. Heavy D, stand up. Big gentleman, asshole, full of Benjamins. New millennium, new billion, assault edition. Gorgeous women, swimming in, cinnamon with them. Diva pigeons, keep the listen. Y'all don't listen, see what you missing. Diggy, double shot of Henny. Hold about the M-O-N-E. Why? Bubble like no any. Talking shit, but that's blasphemy. The one that stopped me with my killer posse. I'm dead in his head, so be prepared for Illuminati. So be prepared for Illuminati. Listen to the rats and feelings. Started dreaming. I smoke the dope and make the misery. I take a blunt to the head. They got me playing all my memories. And my enemies die by a single shot. Don't give a fuck about their life. They can all rock. So please, nigga, don't take me. I can let you fight more. I don't give a fuck, and I'm praying to this place and be. I said, old town, I had a lot of ups and downs, but I'm grown now. I can't down close, because my foes wanna murder me. And tell me, will I be mourned if I perish for eternity? And dear Lord, give me higher. I don't wanna live this life, the devil is a liar. The devil is a liar.
They are said to be behind everything from the French and American revolutions to the rise of socialism and communism to the symbols on the US dollar. They are furtive, formidable, and undeniably fascinating, arguably the most mysterious organization in modern history. What do they call themselves?
The Illuminati. The Illuminati were a secret society. If you go back 225 or 30 years ago, you have what we call the Illuminati that was established in 1776.
We're going to go to the Illuminati now because Pike's going to come up later. Anyway, the Bavarian Illuminati was a real secret society founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, a German Freemason. Allegedly in cahoots with George Washington.
Washington wrote in 1798, quote, "It was not my intention to doubt that the doctrines of the Illuminati had not spread in the United States. On the contrary, no one is more truly satisfied of this fact than I am."
This intellectual was a professor at the University of Ingolstadt. Now, Time magazine says, like the Rosicrucians who preceded them on the world stage, the Illuminati began as a self-selected group of intellectuals seeking to free themselves from the age-old change of church and state. Now, what's really interesting is they're trying to paint the Illuminati as good, which is quite interesting because they're saying that the church is the one who is lying to everybody and that they're the good guys, and we're going to further investigate that. That's why we got the Da Vinci Code. That's a very interesting book when you go back and look at it from a Masonic and Illuminati point of view, because this is stating that Leonardo da Vinci and all of them knew that they're saying that Jesus was human and that he had a wife in Mary Magdalene and that he had a royal bloodline and that it continued on earth and that that bloodline would threaten the power of the Vatican. Interesting storyline indeed. So, anyway, let's get on with this Bavarian Illuminati. Anyway, the all-seeing eye adopted from Egyptian mythology, the urge to wrest order from chaos, and the search for an enlightened New World Order.
A New World Order.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
A New World Order.
And in the New World Order.
Daddy, I'm getting presents in the New World Order!
The New World Order, the New World Order, the destiny of the New World Order will be fulfilled.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, and instead it looks like we got a lot of disorder. And still, and after 9/11, we've been more sensitive.
Can it truly be said that these create a new world order? Can it really be said that we're building a new world order?
Masons and other occultists went to America. They set up the city of Washington, D.C. with the Masonic symbols in the streets. Have a look at this, please. You are now looking at a map of Washington, D.C., and you will see the symbols built into the streets of that great city. A friend of ours who is an airline pilot says that when he flies in there, he can see it very clearly. There you have streets set out in the Masonic symbols, you see. There's the compass. There's the square up there, you see. Now, would you please notice where the end of the compass finishes? It finishes at the White House.
And what about other secret societies?
They still exist, the Skull and Bones. And we've had several presidents that were members.
That's Skull and Bones, 322. It's the secret society in Yale where George Bush and where they teach you how to, run world politics.
The Illuminati can be generally difficult to define, so I will stick to the basic facts to keep it as simple as I can for the sake of this presentation. The Illuminati are a secret society founded in 1776 in Bavaria, Germany by a chap called Adam Weishaupt. The word itself, Illuminati, literally means to be illuminated with knowledge, as this knowledge in turn brings light, illuminating an individual. They are deeply occultic in their beliefs and they revel in secret knowledge. Another name for Satan is Lucifer. Lucifer, which literally translates to light bearer, is more likely to be portrayed as a beautiful angel and light-giving. It is common amongst the secret societies and occultic beliefs for Lucifer to be considered as the source of everything, but especially of all light and of all knowledge. The Illuminati are 100% Luciferian in their philosophy. They sincerely believe that the serpent or the devil is the good guy in the Genesis account, and that Eve was right to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and that when she did become like God. Albert Pike, one of the founding fathers of Freemasonry, was himself a 33-degree Freemason. He was also a top leader in the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Pike, being Sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite, was a devout Luciferian. His famous works, Morals and Dogma, in 1871, is still today considered to be the handbook or study guide for the Scottish Rite within Freemasonry. This is a direct quote from Albert Pike's works, Morals and Dogma. Open quote. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning, is it he who bears the light? Doubt it not. End quote. However, the Bible contradicts this teaching. It exposes Lucifer as being Satan, open quote, and no wonder, for even Satan himself disguises himself as an angel of light, close quote. The esoteric symbol to present Lucifer is traditionally the lightning bolt. This is referencing Jesus' words in Luke chapter 10 verse 18, where he says, quote, "And I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven," end quote.
You'll hear some common occult and Masonic symbols you should be looking for. Here's Satan's bolt, because there's a chapter in the scriptures in Luke about where Satan fell from heaven and Jesus observed him as a lightning bolt.
It is not confirmed how many people belong to the Illuminati. According to a credible ex-Illuminati member known as Svali, they make up approximately 1% of the population. They consist of 13 bloodlines. That is to say, you are either born into the order or you're not. So if you hear Lady Gaga is the Illuminati, it is unlikely that she is in the bloodline and actually a part of the Illuminati order. It is more likely the case she has been recruited by them to promote their agenda and help them indoctrinate the next generation. Lady Gaga is just one of the many music artists who have openly sold their soul to the industry in exchange for fame and fortune, hence why her debut album is titled The Fame Monster.
I know that it was a tough weekend. You could all use a little oxygen. But the truth is that what this is all about is that you are all suffering for your love of music. Like Jesus. Like Jesus.
Bloodlines of the Illuminati make up the world's elite. They are the head of the banking systems. They are the think tanks of the world, the political groups, the educational groups. They own all mainstream media channels, and their main agenda is simple: world domination, commonly called the New World Order. They want one global village of which they control. They see us, the general public, the masses, as nothing more than a bewildered herd or cattle. Their nickname for us, the people, is the sheeple. The Rockefellers are one of the more commonly known Illuminati families, and David Rockefeller, currently the patriarch of the Rockefeller family, is an American banker and philanthropist. Not just any American banker, mind you. He, along with the Rothschilds, another Illuminati bloodline, between these two families own the entire financial banking system and thus solely control the Federal Reserve, the Rockefellers controlling America and the Rothschilds covering the finances and banks in Europe. David Rockefeller is also the founder of the Council of Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. Both of these political groups basically get together to discuss foreign policy and ultimately are responsible for deciding the future of the world, which again and again the same theme emerges, a new world order, and he makes no secret of this. David Rockefeller is quoted in his book Memoirs as saying, quote, "Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure, one world if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty and I'm proud of it." I need to move on, but if you are interested in more information about the New World Order and the Illuminati's agenda, how they plan to achieve world domination, check out the Georgia Guidestones. This is a monument erected in Elbert County, Georgia, which has their agenda engraved in their own words on each side of the 4 stone slabs in a different language. There are 10 guides, or commandments if you will, openly outlining their intentions, how they intend to reduce the world population over 80% from 7 billion down to just 500 million, and bring about a new one world religion or universal spirituality. This monument is generally shrouded with mystery, but the engraved tribute found next to it is a big clue. It has inscribed, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason." The Age of Reason is a book written by Thomas Paine in 1794. Its intent was to destroy the Judeo-Christian beliefs upon which the American Republic was founded. I should issue a warning at this point that this is all pretty disturbing and very serious, and it's very much out there if you want to look further into it. It's all there, hiding in plain sight.
Calling himself R.C. Christian, that's not his real name, it says it right on the stones, a pseudonym, false name. On these Georgia Guidestones, it gives the 10 Commandments for the New World Order. 10 Commandments for the New World Order. The first commandment was to maintain humanity under 500 million. I went there and looked at those things and said, no, hold on a minute. Today's population is 6 billion. They want to maintain humanity under 1/2 billion. Looks like a lot of people are going to die before their plan to work, which is, by the way, the plan.
It is possible to overcome fear when facing real physical danger, and there are some very compelling reasons to learn how. Having the right philosophical scaffolding can help, but in the end, it will always be up to you. Let's begin with a reality check. This planet is and has always been a dangerous place. That adrenaline you feel when standing on the edge of a cliff, or when you realize you almost just stepped on a poisonous snake, or when you finally come to terms with the fact that the government that you live under has become a militarized police state, that feeling is there for a reason. Fear is our physical body recoiling at the prospect of annihilation. Fear is a biochemical alarm system which helps keep organisms alive on this planet by triggering a fight, flight, or freeze response. If the attacker can be defeated, fight. If you can outrun it, run. If you can't beat it or outrun it, freeze and play dead. This alarm system has persisted in the gene pool and will continue to persist because in many life or death situations, it is highly effective. Fear, however, is a double-edged sword. Terror can send a herd of buffalo stampeding over a cliff, and it can make a crowd of humans behave in much the same way. If you need evidence of this, just take a cursory glance at the pages of history, or better yet, take a closer look at current events. Fear doesn't make you smarter, In fact, studies have shown that terror literally shuts down the rational and logical parts of our brains. Now, it's obviously not a good idea to face dangerous situations or to make important decisions with the most useful parts of our brains turned off. But consider the implications of having an entire human society operating at this level. Trouble is, the ruling classes have always understood that it is in their interest to keep the peasants in a perpetual state of fear and insecurity. Those who are able to dictate the nightmares of a nation usually end up dictating everything else. The ability to control our fear and reduce or eliminate its hold on the mind is what allows us to take intelligent action in the face of danger. Having full use of one's brain also helps to distinguish between real and imagined threats. This skill is often referred to as courage. Courage doesn't just happen randomly. A man doesn't just get up one day and perform a triple twisting flip off of a cliff out of the blue. Chances are his heart was pounding like crazy the first time he stood at the edge of a high dive when he was a kid. The primary difference between an expert cliff diver and someone who passes their whole life paralyzed by their fear of heights is that one of them made themselves jump and kept doing so until it became second nature. You might gather from this example that the way to defeat one's fear is to face it. If you're afraid of snakes and you handle them long enough, fear will subside. The same principle applies to most individual fears. Trouble is, fear is like a multi-headed hydra. Cut off one head and another can grow up to take its place. Furthermore, it is often not practical or even possible for us to overcome each little phobia and worry through direct exposure. For example, it would be foolish to attempt to confront one's fear of a dangerous disease like Ebola by contracting it. To overcome fear in a long-term, sustainable way, you have to go to the root. But what is the root of fear? The root of all fear, even seemingly petty and insignificant fear, is death. Social anxiety, for example, can be traced to the primal need to be well integrated into one's family and tribe. Being rejected by one's peers was a death sentence in ancient times, and still is today in many societies. This primitive legacy leaves most humans unable to resist the forces of social conformity and authority. Being unconscious of the root makes the irrational byproducts impossible to process. This underlying fear of death is the body of the Hydra. Facing it effectively is the key to freedom. We all live under the shadow of annihilation, whether we consciously acknowledge it or not. You are going to die. I am going to die. In 300 years, every single one of us will be dust. No one leaves this place alive. And there is no getting around that reality, though some convince themselves otherwise. Do you find that thought disturbing? Does it fill you with dread and despair? Whatever you do, don't look away. Hidden within that discomfort is the secret of life. You see, death is the ultimate counselor. It is the ultimate point of reference. Will this thing that you're afraid of right now matter in 300 years? In most cases, you'll find that the answer is no. Regardless of how dire your situation may seem, no matter how serious your personal problems may be, death will erase them all for you someday. Once you fully integrate this reality, you'll find that it's a relief. Just a short internal glance at one's tombstone can be used to release those surface level fears. Take a deep breath, let it go, and do what needs to be done. We are dust in the wind. There is absolutely no sense in poisoning the precious little time that we have with inner turmoil. You're going to die no matter what, so you might as well look your death in the eye and smile like a kid who's been caught with their hand in a cookie jar, and eat that cookie anyway. But what if the answer is yes? What if this issue that's keeping you up at night will matter in 300 years? What should we do then? Well, what would you do about it if you weren't afraid? What would you do if you knew you only had 1 year left to live? Answer that question, and you have found your mission in life. You have found something bigger than yourself, something worth dying for, but more importantly, something worth living for. Are you afraid of walking your path? Then take another look at your grave. Ironically, confronting your death can also help you avoid it. Those who have accepted the inevitable actually have a tactical advantage over those who are terrified of it. Courage is a wild card which can turn the tables against impossible odds. A small group of highly motivated, fearless individuals can accomplish far more than an army of cowardly and obedient sheep. Remember, we can negotiate the timetable to some infinitesimally small degree, but no matter what we do, our lifespans are short like sparks on their one fleeting trajectory of existence. You want to really live? You want to make that spark count? You want it to start a fire before it goes out? Then do not sleepwalk passively towards the gallows. Stand up, look your death in the eye, and dance. Dance like you're never gonna dance again. Sing like you're never gonna sing again. Stand up while your heart is still beating and hold your child in your arms like this moment is all that you have. Because it is.